What is going on, guys? The Versus All Game with my review of Prison School Episode 1. Finally, my reviews of the summer animes can finally begin, and Prison School was an anime that I've been looking forward to for a very long time. And I gotta say, this first episode, it did surprise me because I did not think that this series would be filled with like so much comedy, but to me, that right there caught me off guard and also made me enjoy episode 1, a lot more. But the episode itself, it starts off now with our cast of boys here. Of course, they were like working, like in the school. And one of them, the big guy, Andre, he was like having trouble, and of course he collapsed. And then we have all his friends, checking up on him. And then we have these girls, or mainly the vice president. Once again, she was like abusing him with that whip of hers. But now we backtrack a bit. And we go to where, their life like normal. And we see now that, all these boys, we learn now that the girl was like avoiding them like the plague. And then we have one of the guys here going up to one of the girls, trying to like talk to them. But at first he cannot get any words out. And not only that, when he did try, they said nothing. And then one of their friends came out of nowhere and, and told them, they were like something she wanted to, discuss with them. And then we see that, when they were outside, we learn now that no girls can like talk to these guys while these crows are around, because otherwise their school life will be over. And now we go to what's his name? I forgot his name right now because obviously I still have to learn. Oh, Kiyoshi. We go now to his first class, and we see now that like he was the only boy in there, and of course now he was like trying to play it cool by not bringing any attention to himself. And we see now that he accidentally dropped his eraser, and it went between these two girl desks. And when he picked it up, one of the girls had like recognized that eraser, and she actually spoke to him. And so we see now that this girl, her name is Chio. And apparently this girl is like the prettiest one, in their class. And so obviously that right there definitely worried him. But we see now that this girl is like enters into sumo wrestling. And we see now these two actually clicked pretty well. We saw now things, developing, quite nicely. And not only that, we see now that this girl, asked him out, to watch, a sumo, tournament. Because, even though this guy is not really into it, he was just playing along because his mother is like a huge fan of it. But now we see that while he was talking to this girl, it was kind of funny now, how his friend thought like it was impossible for him to be talking to a girl even though he was like running so late. And not only that, they kept saying he like had diarrhea, but one of them was saying that right there like also impossible. But now we see now that when he was with his friends again, for some reason he did not tell him that that he was with a girl, because that right there was like something big to them, because obviously they definitely want to do something like they want to do various things to girls, and not just talk to them. But now we see now that the one with the glasses, he was like pretty much a ringleader, and he pretty much, got them all to go peeping. And we see now that when they learned, what class they were going to peep on, and that right there was the class, Kiyoshi was in. He did not want them, to see Chio nude or naked, because that right there was like one thing he could not allow. And we see now that, Glasses over here, he actually used this guy's phone, as a video cam, where that way they could view, the girls, changing room without going inside there. And Kiyoshi was like so worried about them seeing Chio. When he saw her, walking away, he thought that, she was like gone for good. And so now he had agreed to it. But when he found out, they're like using his phone, he like freaked out and like dropped it inside, the locker room. And so now he had to go in there and get it. But that's when Chio came back. And obviously, all we learned actually, Chio has very, very bad eyesight, because she cannot recognize that right there, was a boy, and was also, Kiyoshi. And so right now she thought, it was her friend. And we see now that, that Kiyoshi here had to play along, and we see now that when he went into the dressing room, for some reason nobody knew it was a guy, but now we see that the other guys, there was no way they would let Kiyoshi, do this alone. And so right now, they were all planning on, like going in there as well. But now we see all these crows, because these crows here, they play such a huge role, because at first I had no idea what kind of portal, they would have, but obviously you find out very soon. And now once the crows, attack all these boys, that right there is where the underground student council like come into play, because obviously, they got caught, and just when Kiyoshi, was like going to get exposed, that right there is where the other girls, were alerted about what happened. And so now we see now all these guys, like they were pretty much tied up, like they were going to be burnt at the stake, but right now they were all just tortured, and beat up. And now we see now Kiyoshi here, he was like finally able, to make his escape. But then he was like, then some girl actually saw him, and she gave him, this pamphlet that had told him everything that was like going on in his school. And so we learn now that the girl he was like talking to, she was actually in charge now. And not only that, she's like actually a crow master. Now I don't know, just how well she can use these, but obviously, she could make them spy for her and also attack people. And so now we see that even though he was not caught with his friends, he was still being punished, along with them. And so right now, their punishment, it will be a 1-month sentence, in prison. And so right now, if they make, or if they try to make one escape, that right there will be 3 months. I do believe 2, like if they get caught twice, it'll be 2 months. I believe, a third time, they'll be expelled. But right now, we see now that like they were pretty much, forced into labor. And we see now that the vice president, obviously this girl, is where our real fan service, come in there. But obviously, they're definitely upper hand of fan service, but this girl is like living proof of it, because not only does she have massive tits, but the way she wears her clothes, it's like they're obviously, always out there. But we see now that this one guy named Joe, this guy's like pretty messed up. Not only does he have, all these ulcers, inside his body, he also has quite a mouth as well. And so we see now that when the vice president was like, going to hit him, we have Andre protecting him with his body. And then we see now that the vice president, she actually spit on his face, and that right there should have been, the very first hint that, that these guys definitely weren't normal, because we see Andre actually trying to like lick her spit off his face, and then we have her, forcing her shoe into his face, and she told him, to lick her boots clean, because she had actually got them dirty when she had kicked them. And so right now we see Andre about to do it, but Kiyoshi here actually stopped him, and now we have all his friends pretty much turning on him, because they all told Kiyoshi, not to tell them tomorrow, because Andre actually wanted to lick her boots. And not only that, all these guys pretty much love getting punished by her, so all they guys are like definitely freaks. And so now going, now the next day, we see now that this time it was Kiyoshi, like getting punished. And once again, like there was that fan service, because we saw her sitting on him. And not only that, you could see her chest pretty well in her panties. But then we have all these guys, getting in her face, saying all these things to her, so that they can get punished as well. And so obviously now these boys definitely weren't breaking. And that's when the president had to like change things up and send in this other girl named Hannah, or Hana. And this girl at first, she definitely does seem nice, because she had told them, to go find these 4-leaf clovers. And we see now that these guys were getting distracted by these girls, having, gym class. And so now we see that when Hannah came, to check on their progress, we see now that, one of the guy pretty much, just like blew her off and gave her an answer, she would like to hear. But that right there did not sit well with her. And we see Hannah's true colors now. And we learned that, like, she's actually a karate master. And we see her now kick one of the boys in the head. And so now we see that when they find all the clovers, it turns out, they were all 3 leaves and not 4, and that right there made her, that right there made her split this table in half. And so right now they had to find more, and Kiyoshi here had went out on his own to to look for one, but he could not find that. But he did find, but he did find this baby crow and put it back into its nest, and that right there is where Chiyo had found him. And and by seeing him do that, she was thinking that there was no way this guy, could be bad, because, apparently her grandmother, told her that anyone that likes that likes sumo wrestling cannot do anything bad. But obviously, that right there, well, really, Kyoji here doesn't like it, and so he was, just like going along with it. And right now he was like trying so hard to confess, but he could not bring himself to do that. And then we see now that the other guys, they only found, one 4-leaf clover, and apparently, Glasses here, he had another bright idea where even though they could not, find any more, he tried to present himself as one, presenting those 4 guys to be like one 4-leaf clover, and the way, she abused them, because obviously they like the vice president more, way more than Hannah. And so right now, they were trying to get her to lighten up some, but that right there didn't work at all. And we see now Glasses here got the shit beat out of him. This guy got freaking wrecked. But now we see that, going back to Kiyoshi and Chiyo, this guy could not confess to her, and apparently he cannot make the sumo tournament in 2 weeks. But he did promise that to her, and by that, that right there, must tell us that, while they're in prison, they cannot actually go home. And I do wonder if that right there does sit well with their parents, because to me it seems weird that your kid is at school for an entire month, and he could not leave at all. So hopefully that right there, let's get cleared up, because if he can't go home, I see why not. Why can't he go to that tournament then? Because obviously, they aren't on school grounds anymore, so the underground student council should have no control over them. But then we see now Hannah, she was in the forest alone, and obviously Kiyoshi thought that she was looking for him, but it turns out she had to use the bathroom, and she couldn't hold it anymore, and so she actually took a piss on the ground. And we see now Kiyoshi obviously saw her butt, and this guy was definitely enjoying it, but he knew that if she caught him now, he would definitely be dead. But then we have this crow, flying, toward his nest and knocked him off, and we see him now falling face first into the piss. And so obviously now it's definitely not looking good for him, because right now it ended on a cliffhanger. But episode 2 should be hilarious, because episode 1 definitely has me sold. I really enjoyed it, and hopefully you all enjoyed this review. Overall, I'm getting maybe an 8 out of 10, because to me it was definitely good. It got me hooked right away. But I do know this is the series that, it's pure enjoyment, and you definitely cannot take it seriously if you watch it, because the comedy, it just stands out so much. But don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really helps me out. And you guys take it easy. I will see you all next time.